Hey everyone, today we're ranking the meme add-ons of Dead by Daylight from least to most fun. Add-ons that intentionally nerf your power as killer for the trade-off of more blood points. For this updated ranking, my definition of a meme add-on is going to be adjusted slightly though, to include add-ons that seem deserving of the meme rarity due to their effects. So we'll include the typically referred to meme add-ons, but also any other add-ons that nerf you intentionally too. Painful, terrible, awful experience. Kid's Drawing is an add-on for Freddy, and it basically just makes your snares less effective. It takes them from slowing survivors by 15% to 5%. I mean, I already don't like Freddy, so I'm already pretty checked out if I'm being honest. That was a wall. You know, it's like a weaker version of his power, which is already really weak. He's debatably the weakest in the game, and this just makes him even worse and even more miserable. So he goes from weak and boring to even weaker and boring. This just isn't fun really, I'd say. Freddy is already one of the duller characters to play, and this makes his power even worse than it already is. Boring and the worst type of meme add-on. Rotten Pumpkin is a Demogorgon add-on that destroys your portals if you use them. Look at that, it blows up. And it's gone. Very sad. A nice sort of mini challenge, I suppose. It also buffs the survivors even more because it never makes your portals vulnerable. Yeah, really though, there's not too much difference. This is just a bad meme add-on, I think. It's one of those add-ons that's kind of funny to read at first, but it quickly just becomes a regular, slightly more miserable game, which isn't much fun. Having to constantly reset the portals is just a bit of a hassle, to be honest. Sounds good in writing, but in-game it's just a bit frustrating. Pretty boring experience. Bent Nail is a pinhead add-on that reduces the number of chains that spawn when you hit a survivor with a chain shot. I see that it breaks in maybe a second? It's very quick. Okay. Still get a pretty good amount of slowdown, but there I probably would have gotten the hit with the regular add-on. Game. Okay. This add-on just makes Pinhead a bit harder and makes the chain shots less rewarding, which to be honest just does not feel the best when that's already the hardest part of his kit. I wouldn't mind if it was another aspect, but this part being nerfed just feels really bad and makes the rewarding part of his power just a bit miserable. It still works fine and honestly doesn't make too much of a difference, but it still feels like a bad nerf. Dull Bracelet is an add-on for nerfs that makes the distance you can blink 20% shorter. The shorter blink shouldn't affect too much, because this map's already pretty small, so... This is where the shorter blinks aren't as great, because she can actually somewhat outpace me in parts. I'm not entirely sure why they're doing that. Oh, no! No! Oh. The shorter blinks are obviously a detriment, but it's not so noticeable or so bad that it really affects all too much. This one is one of those add-ons that just isn't that interesting really. The 20% shorter blink distance is noticeable, but it doesn't pose much of a challenge. It feels like regular nerfs for the most part, and really doesn't feel too different either. A 20% power nerf on basically any other character would do a lot, but not for Nurse. Rickety Chain is a Deathslinger add-on, and one that nerfs him by making his chain break 33% faster, an effect which, to be honest, doesn't have much of one. See, every shot I'm getting is actually really detrimental with the... Okay, we go. That worked out fine. It's not too bad, really. It really doesn't make much difference. The chain already lasts so long anyway, it's pretty durable through almost anything. So 33% less typically makes very little difference, to be quite honest. Can I make this? Please! Oh, close. The normal chain would have been fine there. Is the difference. Yeah, this is an add-on I can't call all too fun. It really doesn't change Slinger much, but equally doesn't make him all too much harder either. It's a case of it being around the same. Not much to comment on, just a slightly worse Slinger. Jewel Beetle is a Wesker add-on that makes your bound 50% shorter after grabbing a survivor. It's a pretty small effect. Oh, I see. So it stops shorter and throws sooner. I mean, it's weird, but it's not too much of a nerf. Like, in fact, there, it might have actually been more beneficial because I could actually catch up easier. You know, it is a nerf, but I'm not sure how much of a nerf it really is. It's just different, I would say, more than anything. This one is barely noticeable. It happened once to me, I think, in my game. It's certainly not much of a detriment, but I did sort of have fun with it because I thought the shorter animation looked funny. But that was about it. Overall, nothing much changed. It's pretty low, but I did think the short grab distance was sort of funny. Iridescent Videotape is an add-on for Sadako that removes your ability to condemn survivors by teleporting to TVs, which basically means you can't condemn them at all anymore. The benefit of this add-on is that you get to teleport as much as you want without TVs turning off. When survivors turn them off though, they take even longer to come back on. Oh, they turned the TV off, that's a bit annoying. I can't go there. Someone somehow gained condemned. Maybe that's from the tapes, I guess? I don't know. I'm not actually sure how they managed that. The lack of condemned really makes her feel very weak, because that's how you usually get like the most kills with her is specifically through condemned, so when you don't have condemned, it makes it pretty tough. Not going too well. Maybe it's the map, I don't know. I think if they made it so you couldn't turn off the TVs at all, it would be slightly better, because then your teleports would always be active. But the fact that the survivors can still turn them off sort of sucks. This one is pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. My favourite part about Sadako is the condemned, so not being able to apply it, almost at all, really sucked. The teleporting is pretty ineffective without the threat of condemned, and overall Sadako just feels weaker. Also, survivors can still just turn off your ability to teleport to certain TVs, so it's not even a surefire chance you get to teleport wherever, whenever. Still a relatively substantial change though, so it gets some points. It's at least trying to be interesting. Just an okay experience. The Beast's Soot is an add-on that makes it so when you cloak as Wraith, your terror radius doesn't go away. So you're cloaked, but the survivors can still hear you. It's a pretty big nerf to your stealth. No! See, the downside of this is that you don't really have any stealth at all. Even when you're cloaked, they can hear your terror radius. The issue with this one too is that you can't really feel the effect directly, because it's more from the survivor's perspective. So it's sort of hard to tell how well it's working, and how much confusion it's causing. Or lack thereof, I suppose, too. A lot of teabaggers today. Yeah, see, she knows exactly where I am. Probably from the direction too, in fairness. Oh, how the turntables! Teabagging to getting pretty much insta-downed. I thought this one was fine. Nothing particularly fun, and nothing particularly painful either. I was just pretty content with it. It had nice moments of confusing survivors, but plenty of moments where I felt like I basically had no power anymore too. Scrap Tape is an add-on for Doctor that makes it so your shock turns into the shape of a circle with a gap in the middle. It's bizarre, and undeniably enough for its sheer trickiness in actually hitting these shocks. So it's a weird add-on. You can shock people still. See there, it just avoided everyone. But if you get them on the top of the circle, or on alternately on the bottom of the circle, it can actually work out fine. But it's just very awkward. It's very unnecessary. You sort of have to play it like that, like getting them with the top of the circle, or getting them with like the side of the circle. Yeah, but it's just like a very awkward movement, like that, like shocks like that. Where I'm shocking like forward here despite them being there, you know? It's like ones like that you sort of have to get used to doing. This is a weird one. It's a nice quirk, and I do think it's quite funny having to angle your shocks and stuff like that. It's an interesting variation of gameplay, but it's not fun, I would say. But it's also not fun, but it's not fun. White Knitcomb is an add-on that makes your lunges after you blink 50% shorter. Basically, it makes it so you have to be ultra accurate with your blinks. This isn't the best map for this. Not terrible either, but... There we go. Okay, we were pretty close then. Down this way, somewhere. Oh, I got her. No way. Okay, that one's not too bad. Oh, he just ran into me. Making it easy for me. Yeah, I can't lunge that. It's just way too short. I like this one. It's not the most extreme nerf, and it's actually quite a good add-on for training you to land your blinks. It's enough of a downside for a character like Nurse that it's interesting, but it's not too boring or punishing either. Placebo Tablet is an add-on that makes it so your rushes are 15% slower. That's all it does. Yeah, this is really doesn't feel too different. Like a bit slower. If anything, I think it might be helping me, because it's like slowing me down a bit. Oh wait, they died? What? Okay, how did that hit? That was a crazy hit. That feels like it was way off. This to me honestly just feels like a placebo. I really couldn't feel too much of a difference at all. If anything, I sort of preferred it to regular Blight, even though it is meant to be a downside. I sort of liked the slower speed and the ability to take in my surroundings more. Prayer Tablet Fragment is one of Plague's meme add-ons, and makes it so you can't directly infect the survivors, but only infect them through infecting objects within the trial. Survivors who interact with these do become infected twice as fast though. I'm gonna infect the pallet here. As you can see, it does not affect them, only when they touch the pallet. I do think this is an interesting way to play her. Definitely tougher, mainly because you can't directly infect, but it's not too different from regular Plague. I do like how it encourages you to infect the environment instead. I do like this add-on, but it's definitely a bit frustrating sometimes too. I do like how it encourages you to play Plague in an entirely different way, and a very unique way to play the game in general, but it's also really annoying sometimes, and I wish I could just infect directly. This one is very dependent on how your game goes, I think. Vanity Mirror is an add-on for Myers that makes it so he cannot progress his evil within beyond tier 2. You can't make survivors exposed with this add-on. You do, in return, get the ability to see survivor auras in a 16 meter range when you stalk in tier 2 though. It's basically just like playing Myers in tier 2 with like a small buff of being able to see through walls, which doesn't always help because often often the only reason why it helps with Scratch Mirror is because they don't know you're there as well. Whereas with this, they typically know you're there most of the time. You can do a little bit more recon. Oh, okay. like there it's pretty useful because you can kind of see what's happening before it happens, but typically it's not too useful. See, the thing is she can probably hear me right now, so you can sort of make it work. It's just it's just a bit annoying to play around, I think. This to me misses the mark a bit. The ability to remain in tier 2 is fine, but it's equally the most boring of the tiers. Even with the ability to see through walls, it's restricted to 16 meters, which is the same size as your terror radius in tier 2, which means you rarely get surprise moments or much value. It's a cool idea, but it's not particularly fun to me. Good and fun experience. Padded Jaws is a rough meme add-on in terms of its effect. It makes it so survivors caught in bear traps do not suffer any damage. A healthy survivor can step into a trap and can come out of it still healthy. And they're all teabagging. It's a team of teabagging sables. Here's someone playing a loot up here. I'll let them finish. Right. Now I'll go. They're throwing pebbles at me too. All happening. Wasn't. Oh no, that's such a shame. Alright. There we go. You hear that like low thud sound effect? That's the padded jaws. It actually... Wait, what? Yes? Huh? How did that even happen? It doesn't help that I can't tell them apart. Good little fake. Oh, they walked just past the trap. No! No! Please run into it. Despite it being a tough challenge, I did enjoy using padded jaws. It makes those times when you do get a trap feel all the better, but equally can make you feel all the more nervous that you might not make it in time. I actually quite enjoyed the suffering. It was a fairly fun challenge, even if I did get absolutely rinsed. Cracked Primer Bulb is an add-on for Billy and the new version of his old speed limiter. This add-on will make your chainsaw only do 1 health state of damage, but it does increase the charge speed of overdrive by 15%. I remember I really hated speed limiter last time I made this video. When I made the video originally, he still had overheat, So it was even more miserable. And his collision was terrible, and just, he had a lot of issues. Now, I'm still not very good at Billy, so it's still not going all too well. But it's a lot more enjoyable with Overdrive, because I no longer feel so sort of bullied. I feel like I can catch up, despite the downsides of the add-on, you know? I actually had a lot of fun with this. It wasn't like the last time where it was completely miserable, but this was partly down to Billy's buff. It's nice getting Overdrive more, and whilst the single damage state thing is a little frustrating, it's far from being boring or lacking in fun. Matchbox is an add-on for Nurse that trades out one of her blinks in return for her base movement speed becoming 4.6 meters per second. There we go. One blink is still enough. Oh, just gonna block this. Yeah, this just feels like pretty close to normal Nurse, to be honest with you. A little bit different with just the one blink. There we go. Trying to use our movement speed here. We should be using it like that. That works out a lot better. See, that's where you need the second blink. That is a bit annoying. I quite like this. It's fairly interesting playing Nurse this way with one blink but a faster movement speed at base. It does feel very weird, but it's a good and fun weird. It's a nice change of pace for her, and I like being able to freely choose which type of chase I want to do. Restricting her to one blink also makes you want to be more accurate, or alternately, use it more for positioning and things like that. It's quite cool. Never Sleep Pills is a Legion add-on that makes the trade of slower movement speed in Frenzy all the way down to the base of 4.6 meters per second, and trades it with a 10-second longer frenzy duration. Starting up the chain. This is actually a good map for it too, so... Oh, that was a close one. I very nearly missed that. Alright, I can drop down here. Whee! Why are they injured? They have no Mithril? No, they don't. Okay, we come. Here we go. Please. This might actually be doable. Oh, they're in the locker. No! It's okay, though. I think I can get back up there in time. If someone else heals, maybe. They're in the... I mean, I suppose it's an insta-down either way, isn't it? Do they think they're hidden in there? It's an insta-down either way. I'm going to take that as a W. I like this one. I think it's actually quite fun to play this more laid-back Legion, where you get a bit longer in Frenzy, but you are a bit slower. It means you have to think about pathing a little more carefully, but you also get more time in your power, and more chances for 5-hit downs, which I think is quite cool. Incredible, life-changing experience. Waterlogged Shoe is an add-on that changes Hag almost entirely. It removes her ability to teleport, and in return allows her to move at one of the fastest base movement speeds in the game, of 4.73 meters per second. Traps also apply a 9% hindered effect onto survivors who trigger them. Yeah, it's a unique experience at the bare minimum, whilst it's not good. Oh, there we go, we got Shack and got the down. Perfect. I'm gonna hook basement, I'm gonna trap the basement, and hopefully they'll be all cautious around it, thinking I can teleport, when really I can't. He's waiting on this one, interestingly. With our speed, though, we can actually make it round those pretty easily. Like, this is already a bit of a scuff loop for her, but it makes it a lot easier. But for the most part, it's a pretty terrible add-on. Okay. I was trying to get the hit there. One day I'm gonna get that over the window. This one is a lot of fun, to be honest, despite it being a straight up nerf. It allows for a wholly unique playstyle, and due to the speed you're getting here, it's a playstyle you can't really get anywhere else, which does make it stand out. Speedy Hag is fun Hag. Speed Limiter is an add-on for Bubba and makes your chainsaw only do 1 health state of damage instead of insta-downing survivors. Alright, here we go. Oh, okay, that actually worked pretty well. Actually, yeah, that worked fine, because she tried to vault. I did get into tantrum though, which isn't great. And he healed. Does everyone have insta-heals today or something? What is going on? I make that? Alright, this is actually working out okay so far, but this is working out alright at the moment. I've warmed a lot to this add-on. I remember not liking it much before and really not having much fun, but once I got the hang of it this time, I actually quite liked playing Bubba this way, and in some ways preferred it. There's something weirdly more satisfying and rewarding over Bubba's usual insta-down. The double hit is pretty nice. This one genuinely elevated Bubba for me, a character I usually don't like to play, or like at all to be honest. Scarred Hand is an add-on that takes Hag's ability to teleport to traps, and in return gives your traps collision, which means that survivors cannot pass through them. But it can work out okay. Like that. It works pretty well there, see? This might work here. We've got a body block. Look at that, she's stopped from going through. Even like here, for example, you could like block this whole doorway off and stop survivors from getting through. So I don't think I have any traps here. We can try and get that trap in the main building to trigger. Okay, let's see if it blocks her off. See, there we go. Did it block her? It did block her path, so now she has to come back this way. You see, it does work. This is an add-on I've changed my mind on a lot. It was one I really didn't like originally, but I've grown to love. It's a cool way to play her, and makes for a lot of funny moments to be honest. Spasmodic Breath has got to be one of my favourite meme add-ons, with it nerfing you down as nurse by making it so when you hit a blink attack, you can no longer blink for the next 60 seconds, but you get to move at 4.6 meters per second. Just blink, you get that you get this cool effect on your screen, like this white wispy sort of effect, and then you move a lot faster. It's actually it's not a bad add-on. It confuses survivors usually. Yeah, we've got our blinks back now. So now we go back into playing blink mode. Now we're back into 4.6. There we go. See what I mean? It's still pretty effective. Obviously, it's stronger to just have blinks, but you know, this is still you're still nerfing yourself by doing this. But it is a lot of fun, I think. It's a really cool way to play the game. Just having these two different, styles almost completely, I think is really cool. It's interesting to have this variation for Nurse, switching between blinks and base movement. You have to play her as both her regular self, but also an M1 killer, alternating throughout the match as you go. It gives playstyle variety, a challenge, and overall is just a lot of fun. Scratched Mirror for Myers makes it so he cannot exit from tier 1, which means you can never reach the higher tiers and get the various benefits like longer lunges, bigger terror radius, and his insta-down. However, you can see survivor auras through walls in a 32-meter radius whenever you stalk. This is just a classic add-on. Let's see. I gotta be very quick. Alright, I'm going in. There we go. Okay, and then she moves, and then we go. Okay, we make that. That's a bit tough, because the lunge is very short. Scratch Mirror is great though. It's one of those add-ons that it's one of the better known silly add-ons. But it's always fun. It's always a good time. And whilst it is undeniably a nerf, it's just such a fun one. You really just can't go wrong with this add-on. It makes for fun jump scare moments, whilst also just offering a really unique playstyle. That's gonna do it. Let me know which meme add-ons you find fun down below. Thanks, and goodbye.